L'État, c'est moi. In 18th century France, the king had unbelievable power. Let's find out why. So first of all, we need to define a key term. What is an absolute monarchy? An absolute monarchy is a government with one ruler who calls all the shots. The title of king or queen was usually passed down from generation to generation. So if I'm the king and I have a baby, when I die, my baby becomes the new monarch. You may notice how different this is from the United States political system. In the US, we have elections to choose our representatives. In an absolute monarchy, there are no pesky elections. In the United States, we have a system of checks and balances, which are limits on the authority of any one part of the government. In an absolute monarchy, the king has total, unquestionable power. Take him to the dungeon.
What? No, it's preposterous. Stop! No.
Perhaps the most famous absolute monarch in history was King Louis XIV of France.
He was called the Sun King because France revolved around him the way the planets revolve around the sun.
He's quoted as saying, "L'État, c'est moi." I am the state. You can think of this as the motto of absolute monarchy. There's no France without King Louis. He makes all the decisions, so he acts for the entire country. A super powerful king needs a super dope palace. So, King Louis had a royal residence outside of Paris expanded into a lavish palace complex called Versailles. Versailles had exquisite gardens and gold leaf all over the place to demonstrate Louis's wealth and power. It was the place to see and be seen in European society. So, who decides who's a peasant and who's a king? Supporters of the monarchy had an answer. God. This theory is known as the divine right of kings.
Let's take a look at a source from back in the good old days of the French monarchy. Since the power of princes thus comes to them from God, and since he gives it to them only as an instrument of his providence and his rule over the states whose government he delegates to them, it is clear that they should use this power in accordance with the aims that divine providence and rule have established for them.
This was written by a lawyer by the name of Jean Domas, and the king made sure that Jean Domas got some money to support his writing because the king looked favorably upon this kind of monarchist sentiment. What does that mean? Monarchist. That means from the perspective of someone who supports the monarchy, supports the king, and really gasses him up. Says, "Oh, you go, king. Yeah, you've got that power and you deserve it." Where is Jean Domas saying that this power comes from? Well, from God. The power of princes thus comes to them from God. That means that God himself, divine providence, chooses who is on the throne. How does God make that decision? Well, he does it in his infinite wisdom. He chooses the person he knows is going to rule in accordance with the law of the Christian church. And if someone ever says, "You're not the king, you don't deserve to be king, why aren't I king?" I can pull out my trump card. I can say, boom, God said I'm king. And really, how are you going to respond to that? That is the divine right of kings. I'll see you soon. Guards,